We'll call the meeting to order. Roll call?
Okay, Mayor Westergaard.
Yep.
Boltman.
Yep.
Cleveland.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
Huss.
Okay. No public forum. Consent agenda. Any additions or corrections? Now we need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Boltman.
Yep.
Cleveland.
Yep.
Reese. Huss.
Okay, we'll open the public hearing on the Lakeview Urban Renewal Plan.
I've
No
received
input?
no comment on that, but we can just take a look at that here real quick. Just that again on page 4, this is the amendment to the urban renewal plan. It doesn't say too much, other than this would propose to use tax increment financing for the improvements to Camp Crescent, including construction of a new bathhouse and storm shelter facilities and addition of camping spaces. And this sets the amount that could be repaid from TIF at $400,000. So that would be the maximum. If we flip to page 7, here's really what we're looking at as far as the expenses for the campsite project. Total estimate was at $72,600, $250,000 for the bathhouse. It's at $322,000. Revenues and the date at which we would need them. I would just propose that we would use electric funds to pay for the electric expenses. And then the idea about using what I termed here as profit from the campground from last year, but that's just the revenues over expenses for last year. That's $30,000 that could come from the general fund. And then we would start to transfer money from the electric improvement fund. And this is the amount of money that would actually be repaid through TIF. So I would only propose that we would transfer money out of the fund as needed to pay for the expenses with the first ones there for the concrete pads. The dirt, water, sewer, and drainage is at $27,600. And then actually we would receive additional property taxes from TIF around September. And that would be about $75,000 in property taxes. And then by October, or however the bathhouse construction proceeds, we would need the remainder of the funds from what I would propose to be the electric improvement fund. So that's $175,000, again, transferred out of there to be repaid back into that. So looking at the debt repayment, this would say that we would only repay funds from the electric improvement fund, and it's $202,600, with the repayment then to start in April of 15 and be done in September of 16.
When do we start applying for grants for the project? Or-
It puts us in an interesting, I guess, dilemma. Because if we want the project to proceed this year, it's not really good timing for a lot of the grants. A couple of the prime grants for this would be Sac County Endowment and then REAP funds. REAP funds would be really good use of this also. And we've been successful getting a couple of REAP grants for the trail here these past several years. And the Sac County Endowment, that could be as much as, say, $25,000. REAP can be as much as $75,000. But if you're going to begin construction on the project, you're not eligible to apply them. So it becomes a timing issue, because both of these applications are due in the fall. So if you want, I guess the idea being, if you want to tear down and start construction this fall, it won't be a real good grant eligible project.
I thought we kind of decided to keep it in-house anyway.
Not necessarily, because
No, I mean, money out of the electrical department and stuff
well,
like that.
it would be there to use.
Yeah.
But the other alternative is basically wait till spring to even demolish and get started.
But if you go with grants and you've got a lot of follow rules, that you have to abide by their rules.
Yeah, Not through these couple. They're kind of wide open. It's pretty good opportunity.
What about, the cost of taking out other sites? I know that was minimal
That's
for next year.
It's, to start with, it's almost just administrative. And then there's just some minimal work. Unless and until we would decide that we want to do a bunch of dirt work there again and try to address the drainage problem.
But you would keep you'd have it in a different spot than it's at now.
The bathhouse?
Yeah.
No, it was just proposed that you would tear it down.
So what
and
do they do in between time when you're tearing that down, the campers and,
That's why we're waiting until the end of it.
That's why,
well,
this timeline would say tear it down right after Labor Day. It would be try to bid the project, say mid-August, and then right after Labor Day, contractors in here, hopefully getting started tearing it down and doing as much work then as they can in the fall.
When does, applications have to be in?
REAP is
Fall
August 15th, and then Sac County Endowment has been in September.
So we're only talking
The
August.
notion would be as if you would hold off for construction until next spring, we're probably eligible.
either way, we're in a
Pretty-
mess.
yeah, we're started now,
Well,
it's pretty
Or
hard.
not a mess, but
Well, we're still to a point where we haven't really laid out any construction plans even really, so, I mean, we're still at a point where you could,
What's the timeline on, what it would take for construction?
I guess I don't know.
Not
Because
till we get
that's-
back.
But there's no guarantee we'd get the grants, but
No, but there's pretty strong chance you at least get the Sac County Endowment one. And
so that's
that was $25,000 for the playground
$25,000.
this year.
That's a good chunk of change.
Yeah.
And then the other one, 100,000 or 75,000. So
75,000,
there's
yep.
possibly $100,000 we can use towards the project.
Yep. Very true.
So that's a $100,000 decision.
75,000.
Well, 75 plus 25.
True, yep. And you could certainly argue that, if maybe they could still start in early spring and get it done so it doesn't miss too much of the,
I was
of
gonna
the
say,
camping
then you
season.
might tie up part of
then
your
you would have to
campground.
have
Yeah.
something.
You could probably get better bids though, if you let it out in January or February though.
we always have real good luck when we bid it over the
Right.
winter.
That's what I was
Um,
thinking.
But if we don't have a completion date until next spring, we'll get good bids this fall too.
Because they may be done with their summer projects and looking for something to finish the cruise
That's
out.
what I thought too.
And but really, we don't need to have that decision, I guess, about timing quite yet. We had kind of figured we'd start it this fall, but it's still changeable.
Well, what if we applied for those grants, and see where we're at that time? Because we go for bid in August?
Yeah. And I would suggest we could still bid this fall or winter.
We can still bid it and
Mhm.
But it's still TIF, just not use the money, we could turn it back.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
just need to
we're only
continue.
going to be withdrawing money from our electric improvement fund as needed to pay expenses, so.
what is it gonna hurt to apply for those grants and?
It's just the time that you wouldn't have a facility there next year. And I guess
You
the
wouldn't be
idea,
able to start until that gets approved, right?
yeah. Well, and then it becomes weather dependent, they could tear it down during the winter time, but that's basically it.
I think, man,
But like I say, it's potentially $100,000.
I know.
Yep.
I think,
But if we do this and we get the grants, we can always just not use the TIF.
Right, yeah.
100,000, yeah.
Yep.
and we could,
Were you saying if we waited till spring, we could get TIF?
No,
well, we could get possibly $100,000 in grants, 75 from
REAP.
Otherwise, we get it from
25.
tip.
Yeah, otherwise we would
It's
use,
it's kind of a wash anyway, right?
Yeah.
well, it is, but anytime you get the chance to use somebody else's
yeah.
money, it's always a benefit.
Plan A would be to do these tonight, and then if we can get the grants.
Yeah, I would
we
ask
need
that
it.
we would implement this stuff tonight, and,
Yeah.
and we still discuss the timeline. This just puts the financing mechanism in place that we can use when we need it.
Yeah, okay.
You need a motion? to-
No, just hang it. We're gonna close the public hearing if everybody's done. The public hearing's closed. Now we'll go on to resolution 1421.
Yeah, now this go ahead, this one
starts-
approves that amendment to the urban renewal plan.
This will get us started.
Yep.
The
I'll make a
motion,
motion, we approve that resolution.
second,
I'll second it.
roll call.
Waltman.
Yes.
Cleveland.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
Huss.
Yes.
1422 is authorizing the TIF.
Let's take a look at this one, though. This is the back page of what was on the table tonight. Just want to point this out to you. I'm right in the middle of the page where it says Section 1. And this is where it would be hereby directed that $400,000 be advanced to the TIF fund from the electric improvement fund. So that, again, is where it's saying $400,000, that'd be the maximum. And we really do not intend to use anywhere really close to that. But, and again, we would only kind of draw out of that fund as needed to pay the expenses. But just understand, I mean, that would really be authorized if it needed to be that way.
Okay, do we have a motion on 1422?
I'll make a motion to.
Okay.
Roll call.
Reese.
Yes.
Huss.
Yes.
Boltman.
Yes.
Cleveland.
Yes.
Okay, the South State Road Sanitary Sewer. Gus, it's on the agenda.
Okay. I got my neighbor here, Kevin Litter. We both want the city sewer. And would like to have it brought up to our property line, just in one spot. That map you have there, if we could have it brought up in between us and just stop there. And we'll take it from there and go to our houses.
Just as, let's just kind of talk through this here real briefly. It's page 8. As you look more towards the top of the picture, the red roofed building, that's Hancock's office. Okay, but that's, right around there is where this actually then starts to dump into what we consider to be the city sewer system. The red line, the solid red line, then comes down to behind the DNR offices. There's manhole behind the DNR offices.
Right.
Okay, some question there about whether that's a city main or not, because there had to be some repairs done to that, and we made the DNR do it. Okay, so that's going to indicate that's a private line. But then from there on out, any of the dashed lines, that's just there as a potential route of the sewer, and where it, then the distance is down there at the bottom from the DNR manhole to what would be the northwest quarter of Litter's property, about 540 feet, and from that northwest corner of Litter's over to Cleveland's, then it's 325 feet. And that is just measuring off of the computer program to do it.
I went down there with my laser deal. And it's, by cutting that corner off and coming in between us, it's gonna save 200 foot. And I talked to Corey Butt and I don't remember the other guy's name. And they said they was gonna have to talk to Tuttle. And they said they didn't see no problem with it. I said, if we went and cut off that corner and went over to that spot, so we can use, the way he talked, he said they didn't think there'd be any problem. across there.
Now, do we have to have an easement for that?
We would.
But we have an ordinance that says that we aren't gonna do that. So if a contractor come in and started a addition up here, then he would want us to furnish him, and normally he would pay for that, is that correct?
Yeah. Just, here's the general rules on sanitary sewer, is the main is considered to be, for anything installed, the main is public, that's the only thing that the city owns and maintains. Any of the service lines off of the main are private at any point off of the main. That's a little different than from water, because the city has maintenance responsibility up to the curb stop on water. Okay, but for sewer, it's everything off the main. But what we have for regulation about installing sanitary sewer mains is basically the only thing that we have written down deals with our subdivision code. So it deals with new subdivision areas, where it lays out the required infrastructure that needs to go in. And so it's telling you what type of streets and street lighting and storm drainage and this type of stuff. And then it gets to water, and it says that the city installs water. But again, then it also gets to sanitary sewer, where the developer is responsible for the installation of sanitary sewer. Now that's for new developments. You know, I guess you could make the argument that this is truly a unique circumstance. There's not too many septic systems left in town. We were trying to think of them, and so we have the two of them out there. There is one additional one out kind of by Denison Beach. It's actually back on Adams Street. And then let me get my
I know there was one of them there.
Denny Blessington's old house up there. When he built that new house up there, there's no sanitary there. That's on a septic system. And then the other one, it's actually outside the city limits right now, but it's Lanphier Trailer Park on the east end. There's no sanitary sewer there either.
Have they indicated that they want sewer?
Yeah, many times they have,
And we've told them no?
and they've come to see the city a couple times since it was annexed. But they would routinely ask the sanitary district that was there before, but they didn't want to pay the amount of hookup fees that the sanitary district requires, so they never hooked up. We now have an agreement this is the annexation agreement with the sanitary district, though, that basically says they're still going to have to pay the equivalent amount of what the hookup fees would have been in order to get hooked into the city system.
So if we do this, we'd open up a can of worms for more people?
These are just the handfuls. There's that one out of Denison Beach and Denny Blessington's, but Denny Blessington's house, his old house, that's really nowhere close to sewer.
But we're talking $10 a foot.
I don't know what we're talking. If you can just, $10 a foot might be pretty cheap to get it installed, but
I would think.
Yeah, the thing is.
How many feet is
You'd
it?
be getting $50 to over maybe money back every month from us.
How do we get it back? You're using it for the money of gas, or water in, sewer out. There's no profit for the city.
Yeah, there
That's-
is.
That's just,
It doubles. Whatever water we use, that's.
It's revenue anyway, but they,
Yeah.
yeah, it's smoke and mirrors is what it is.
Well, it's more than what you're gonna get on the other end that we talked about last time.
but it's something that has to be done too, right? In the next, DNR wants it done before they ever start dredging, so.
no, not necessarily. I haven't.
Oh, well, I
No,
thought.
there's
that-
We've not been approached about it. I don't know if you guys have
Oh.
heard anything about it or not, guys.
Lon was telling me about maybe they might have to go with the sewer. I guess it's all up in the air yet.
Yeah, but what we hear from the DNR, the big sewer thing DNR related would be whether we would ever have to get rid of that line that goes underneath the lake.
But Jerry, you were on when this ordinance got in, surely, weren't you? That we did this for reasons, so we don't,
Right.
this could be $10,000. How do we tell the public we're gonna spend $10,000 to hook your sewer up?
For mine?
Yeah,
No.
$10 a foot, 600 feet, 6,000, right? We're always half.
That ain't gonna cost no. I tell you what, if I could get $50 for all the, what I want you guys to do a month, I could put 2 of them in a week and do that all year long, I'd be a wealthy man. The money you get, you're gonna get $50 a month back. And I don't know why they was never hooked up before. They were just,
Well,
They
it's
should be,
not an easy
because-
run, but
because
But we're-
DNR can shut us down if they knew that our septic system was that close to the water.
We're bringing this up to, would be bringing this up to the property line, right? And then you guys would be taking it from the property line to your house.
Yeah.
And
It's
then-
600 foot, and I know Lon can dig 50 foot in an hour.
You can't get to it till next year anyway.
Well, and I said something to them, I said, you know, we can wait till fall or when things slow down, you know. I don't know if it slows down for Lon ever, but it's something that would work out better for them, and we can check it on, you know, this fall and see how things are going. It's just a 4-inch line running up there, so I said, it's not a big deal.
Does it have to have a lift station or a pump or something?
that was another thing we were talking with Lon about, an option though, that if you want to look at a little grinder bumping, just bore in or trench in a little pipe.
I mean, you can put a smaller pipe,
Sure. You put in a 2-inch pipe with a grinder pump
Oh.
and it'll force it right through there.
2 inches up for all the sewage and all.
Yep.
Yeah, they did that out of Vapco, or not Vapco, biodiesel. I think it's a 3-inch line.
But the
Right.
homeowner pays for the grinders, right?
Then you maintain it.
No.
No, you own it.
You're the proud owner of that baby and you guys maintain it. And
It's your pump.
It's your
Well,
poo.
deep, the thing's deep enough. All you gotta do is dig a little more out and you don't have to worry about a grinder. Anything mechanical is, if you can stay away from it, you're better off.
Well, the perfect example I can think of, same argument, Gus, was I think Terry Keyhold and his wife, Sherry. They had to go the more expensive route because there was a main existing, but they couldn't hook up to that. They had to pay from their house to the main,
yeah, clear up, they had to get up to 5th Street to get to
all
a
the way
main.
to Fifth Street.
I just think it's really uncomfortable sitting on the council and asking to do this, Gus. I
It should have been done a long time ago, and it would have been paid for, you know, 10 times over. But being as you put workmeisters in for up to his lot line and not cost him anything, I thought it'd be, and you won't be seeing any money out of that until he builds. After you get this in, why, you'll be getting more money from us.
I guess. We were running the numbers on that, Gus. I came back at 20 years with it.
Yeah, Workmeister is a completely different deal. We had to use that to get the punch.
Okay. And like I told you, you know about that salt trail?
You know what bill we ate because of that? Somebody hit a wire and we ate that bill. We didn't charge the contractor.
That's here nor there.
No, I mean, if you're looking back for history, why, that's how it got there.
No. That wasn't my fault when I hit that wire. That was more than 18 inches away.
Oh, not that, that's a different one. It doesn't make any
Yeah,
difference.
it doesn't. I'd rather not go there.
Okay. Well, I just
So-
don't think if you do it for one, you should do it for everybody.
I guess, and that would be my point to the council too, is that if you're gonna do it,
Well,
yeah, you figure that you're gonna do it for everybody. I think it's an important policy change, not
I
a
do too.
one-time situation.
I personally can't believe there's septic tanks in there,
Yeah.
to tell you the truth.
It shouldn't have been, but
So how many more people would be affected by that if we made that policy change? Did you say?
You know, I don't know that there's anybody who has access to a gravity feed sewer. you know, that's why they still have septic tanks, because they don't have access to it. And when I say they don't have access, it's to a gravity feed sewer, that they can gravity to it. Because, you know, anybody can pump stuff wherever, but under our code, it's not required. You know, you're required to hook into sanitary if you have access, and I think it's within 300 feet of your property.
So, like the Van Memeren's deal there, they will go east if they go, or will they come to the west?
I'd go to the west, but, you know, of course,
Well,
they're
then
still
would they
outside the
hook
city
on,
limits.
they wouldn't be able to hook onto that then?
No, that goes,
That's a long ways away.
They've got their own
Why
system
not?
already.
yeah,
Huh?
That's
They've already
one.
got their own system out there.
But if that
I
were to
know they
happen,
got their own
that's,
system, but if they had to go on the sewer line,
Oh, yeah.
that'd come back to town.
It has come back
yeah,
this way.
that's the one that goes underneath the lake eventually.
oh, okay.
That's that sharp curve on Provost there.
Mhm.
So really, if we make the policy change, there's really nobody else that'll affect, or?
There's these, like I say, there's these a couple of properties that don't have access to a gravity feed sewer, so I guess that could be the argument. And then there's, you know, potentially some properties outside the city limits that they would say they want an annex, which would, the main one would be the Lanphier Trailer Park.
I think that's
Because
totally dying now.
when you're putting in city water, you know, because I don't understand this that much, when you're putting in city water, you know, wouldn't it be prudent to put in sewer to the property line at the same time?
For like a
You're
new
digging
development.
Yeah, well, anytime you do it, I mean, you're digging one hole for two.
Yes and no, there's some requirements, you basically can't hardly put them in the same trench anymore. So there's some separation requirements.
They just didn't do it back in the day for some reason.
That's tough.
You know, I guess that if you think that there's any ideas that you want to proceed, there's some administrative things to look through here first and really secure. First thing I'd ask is that we have Aaron still review the code and make sure that this is okay. And if it's not, that we would need suggested code change. But then the second thing we would deal with easements, that we would secure easements.
Because in order.
Working with the state of Iowa, which may not be easy, you know.
No,
Not that they'll say no, but it's just a process to do it.
Because, you know what, the difference with the Workmeister thing is, you know, we could have easily paid him $500 for the easement. Then he could have paid us back,
Mhm.
and that would have taken care of that, but, you know, we did it in trade, basically, for the easement. And I guess the thing is, you know, we'd almost have to change the code. I mean, that's common sense to do it.
I don't think Dennis would.
To me.
I don't know, I just got word that things have changed with Dennis. I don't know what.
I think he's more or less dropping it for a camper in there,
We're doing
Well,
what?
he has a camper there from time to time.
right?
So we don't
No, he
have to
talked
put
about
in
building a
sewer?
house or building
Oh.
some additional structure or facilities in his garage or, you know, whatever else.
I see.
So he doesn't want the sewer now?
No, he does. Certainly, he certainly would for future use.
Scott, on that one of Lampier's out there, would that overload the system for, since we got Boulders and the hotel, that North State Road is not a good sewer system anyway.
It's just that when we did the study, that there's the limitation on that comes from the lift stations and how much lift stations
Right.
will pump. And the limiting lift station out there is the one that's at Don Durner's.
Okay, it's passed
Yeah.
down
But of course, everything still goes that
there. It
way.
goes out,
But, and then after that study, we did upsize the pumps through there, so we're still okay.
'Cause I mean, we
It still
got-
had some capacity yet to
We
add
got
to it.
Bowlers now, we got, Ryan's.
Mhm.
and That's why I was wondering, because all that comes around the north side,
Right.
so.
I think, before we make any decision, we need to find out if we need to address the code on that, otherwise we can't go anywhere until we address that part. So that'd be step one.
Are we supposed to have a motion to look further into it? Is that what you want?
Maybe just have her look into it. Could you do that?
You happy
Sure.
with that, Gus? You're the one
Yeah.
on the agenda, so.
Yeah, if you'll look into it and see what it all involves.
Get something started.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to get it done before I go to Texas. But,
And you
Just
have
have-
expectations.
yeah. I stopped at the DNR. I said, there's a corner over there. I said, would like to cut across. I said, that'd be all right, do that. Or is that gonna take an act of Congress? And I said, yep. An act of Congress.
Mhm.
So it's gotta go down to Des Moines and gotta review it.
State property.
Okay, 1423 is the harvester operators. We got one working now, right?
Yep, this would propose that we would hire two vegetation harvester operators. Bill Farley would be one to come on, just to operate the harvester. And then there's Doug Dublinski. Doug's from Odebolt. And Doug's actually been working for us now for he came on last Tuesday, I think. And I think have good reports on him.
Good.
They all, both Bill and Doug, they come to us with their CDLs, so they have those already.
We have a motion on 1423.
So moved.
Second,
I'll second.
roll call.
Boltman.
Yep.
Reese.
Yes.
Huss.
Yes.
Cleveland.
Yes.
And we have to have a motion to approve the new fireman.
Yep.
How come they resigned?
Basically, I think Jeff and Brian, they've both been on for, I think, 10 years.
Yeah.
And- Kind of lose passion for it after a while, I think, more than anything.
Yep. Kind of a young man's
Yeah.
career.
Those guys aren't that old.
No, I know, but I mean, younger guys.
Yeah, we are replacing them with 3 young guys, yeah.
Very, very
Yeah.
capable.
We have a
Good-
motion to
good
appoint the
folks.
fireman.
I'll make a
Also,
motion.
You want to second that, Gus?
Yep.
Roll call.
Huss.
yes.
Cleveland.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
Waltman.
Yes.
Just a little update on that too, about this bunker gear they were looking at.
Yeah.
That they, Jimmy's looked through several different companies on some bunker gear. And when we talked about this at that budget meeting, that he would like to start changing some of the bunker gear out over the next few years. Well, what he would like to do within the next few months is basically change out about half of the bunker gear. But that would be take some funds out of this current budget year to pay for it, and then right away in July, you take some funds out of next budget year to pay for that too. So this would be the only purchase to be made then for the next couple of years. And they were at,
1689 apiece.
$16.89 apiece.
When I talked to Jim, and they've picked out the 12 guys they're gonna give it to, not the bystander guys who won't get it, but the guys that actually go in and get the gear first. Okay, you
Got
got,
those things, both those have been budgeted in the budget.
yeah, they've been already budgeted.
Yeah, there's money available in the budget for that.
Do you have anything for, I know they had the sewer jetter's been going lately.
Sewer jetter was out today, you bet.
A little extra help makes a difference.
Matt and Doug were doing the sewer jetting today.
Yeah.
So they're out doing some lines.
Okay.
Okay. See, let's see, we gotta talk about our emergency responders.
Yep, let's do that. I know the issue, I'd sent out an email to the council about the idea of Cameron drives for ambulance, and whether we could have Cameron on duty and still be able to drive for ambulance at the time. As we talked this through, there's a lot of merit to the city, as far as ease of operation, managing your employees, that you want your employees around to manage. So, but what we would have requested is that Cameron not be scheduled for on-call time during his normal work hours. Talked with Scott McDonough, he's the ambulance chief up at SAC, and just reviewed this with him, and he just understood that, the notion about us. If we were to have Cameron respond, it does mean that we need to be able to alter his work schedule a little bit, at least to make sure that he stays in town, as opposed to doing any rural work. And I talked with Scott about that, and he seemed to understand. And this says he'd honor the request to have Cameron's schedule not be scheduled during work hours. And as of today, that's kind of where we're at.
So, if we don't schedule Cameron, where are we at? What's the plan
We don't have an ambulance, do we?
Yeah, we do.
during the day?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, so what's the plan?
Well, basically, I didn't understand why it was even on the agenda, because when you read through it, it pretty well resolved itself. And I think I told you the other day, I wasn't gonna discuss it. If you want to go into closed session, we can talk all about it. But at the present time, I'm gonna make a statement that basically says what you're asking. Any person that dials 911 in our service area will have an ambulance at their door in a timely manner and within the mandated response time set by the state of Iowa. That's all I need to say. It's being taken care of.
Okay, so I guess that still doesn't answer my question. What, do we have an ambulance coming out of Lakeview to service Wall Lake and Lakeview, and what we
I
have?
said our service area. And that's Wall Lake and all.
So I guess you're bouncing around my question.
No, I'm not. That's our service area.
So you're saying that SAC is gonna come down and cover?
Lakeview will respond, and SAC will probably, if they don't have a crew, there will be an ambulance out of Lakeview, first responding. Same setup that Odebolt has right now. Basically, what happens if there's a second ambulance required, they get patients at the same time. SAC is an in-house type of service where they have staff sitting there. You follow? You understand what I'm saying? Okay. Our response time requires that we travel from either home or work or whatever. The difference is about 4 minutes. Usually SAC will arrive about 4 minutes behind us on average. So there's not, if you're that close to dying, you're not going to make it anyway.
I don't know, to me, that's 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, whatever it is an eternity. I think we owe it to the citizens of Lakeview until they get the situation resolved as far as scheduling, to allow Cameron to be on call. I mean, there's not gonna be that many times when he's gonna be so far away that he can't respond.
So you're saying that if he's out here 12 miles on a power line.
How many times does that happen?
Can you tell
Is
me
Bill
when-
here?
Yeah, can you tell me where the next emergency is?
No.
You can't. You don't know.
So here we are, we average about 26 calls less than Sac City out of our ambulance. Okay? That's what we did last year.
Okay.
Okay, so what you're saying is the guys from Sac City have to respond to Wall Lake during the day when, say, Cameron's not on
No,
call.
our ambulance will.
Our ambulance will with who?
It'll respond as a first responder unit. They can
one
stabilize,
person?
they can stabilize until, basically, it's being set up right now. There's a board of supervisor meeting tomorrow morning, and pretty much, this week is pretty much all covered. with a crew coming from either SAC or, one lady works out there in Evapco, lives in Odebo. She'll be taking call also. Gordy will be taking call. They've got about 3 to 4 people already on schedule. So basically, it's being taken care of. Chances of having one person show up as a first responder unit is gonna be slim.
But it happens around the lake once in a while anyway, Jared, that there's only one guy. If, say like when Gail's close, she goes right to the scene,
Exactly,
you know, so,
exactly.
or somebody.
I don't know,
I've heard of Gordy doing that.
I'm still uncomfortable with that. I just like to at least have Cameron be a backup in case we don't have anybody here.
My second's
Yeah, I know she.
You know,
Well, I think
people
first
rely on that service. It's very important, and
Well, they have first responders in Wall Lake too.
I'm not debating the fact that it is important, don't get me wrong there. What I'm saying is that if we're out, even out here north of town, if Cameron is on that job as a safety man, you have one man in the air, you have to have a safety man on the ground. That takes time to bring that boom down. You're gonna have to take 2 different vehicles along, so that way he can come back, basically, or else both of them have to come back. Those trucks don't move that fast anyway. So are you gonna save any time? No. And if it's north of town over here, and our service area is down south of Wall Lake or Auburn, it ain't gonna, Sac City will be there before we move. Plus the fact, I have a real problem with the fact that, I mean, not a real problem, but never mind, I'm not gonna get into it because we're going to close session if that's what you wanna do.
Bill, what's your take on it? You gave the okay for him to be on call? Or,
I didn't give me okay to be on call.
okay,
It just came up and
And there it goes right now.
I found about it and Scott called in the office and we talked about it. What Scott wrote in the paragraph, that's what I assumed it was done.
Yeah, I did too. That's why I said I was surprised to see it on the agenda because it would be like it resolved itself.
you know, I just don't want Lakeview without a service.
Here's one right now. It's not a boat first responder unit, like this covenant. Their ambulance will be on the scene probably within 2 minutes,
Okay,
and they'll be stabilizing with the same thing as what we have.
Jerry, I thought it was important we have it on the agenda because the council is responsible to the public.
I
There's a lot of
understand.
questions, you know, and I think it needs to be right here that, do we want him to be on call?
and until
Will we do any
we
good or
get
not?
something from the supervisors, you know, saying what the plan is, because right now, we have no plan, and just to hear that it's been taken care of, I'm just not comfortable with it.
Then you're more or less saying that I'm bullshitting.
I'm not saying that, Jerry.
Okay.
I just,
The state of Iowa mandates a lot of your response times. And we're in that guideline right now. Contact our supervisor. He's the one that makes the decisions. Scott did. He called him and talked to him, right?
Sure.
You got the same answer I told you.
Well, we were talking about, and, you know, I think we're treated the same as any other employer. You know, an employer's not mandated that they would let them go, you know.
well, we,
But the other thing that we talked about more deals with, you know, longer term about what happens about trying to staff this. And I don't know that there's anything in the mill to come up with a permanent solution to the staffing issues. It's concerning.
you know, and we let our city employees go to fire calls.
And they're
Yes.
volunteer.
Yeah, we,
Do we- do
doesn't
we-
matter.
do- Yeah, it does. Do we allow our other employees to hold 2 jobs at the same time and be paid for them?
Well, when he goes on a call,
No, he's paid every hour, not when the pager goes off. We don't allow our chief of police to have a second job, do we? And be paid for it? I don't think so.
You know, I'm not gonna argue the point that it's being worked on, but if there's a time when it's gonna take SAC 5 or 6 minutes extra than what it would take a fully staffed unit from our unit going to a call, that's an eternity, and I'm just not comfortable with that. And I think we should bring it up to a vote whether to allow Cameron or not, and if I'm the only dissenting vote, then that's the way it is.
I don't wanna lose our ambulance in town here. And if it takes putting a little more money towards it from our town and from Wall Lake, chipping in a little bit to keep it here, why,
And I'm not saying that Cameron has to be on call every day, or just have him as a backup if the gal from Evapco and whoever else you have can't make it, then rely on Cameron until they get somebody new in here to take up the slack.
I'm
Because
just thinking, yeah.
we
it's-
don't,
we wanna
doesn't sound
facilitate
like we have a plan yet, and until that plan comes through, I think we owe it to the people of Lakeview to cover that. I mean,
If it's a matter of us paying him for a few hours and he's on call, just to have the ambulance, I think the communities that don't have one would say, if that's all we had to do to keep one,
Right,
and it may not last very long, if they got it covered, you're
Right.
fine, but.
because I think we ought to, do everything we can, to try to keep that ambulance.
You're
conserved.
not gonna lose the ambulance.
Well, I mean, that's the
Oh.
phobia
Plain
out
and
there.
simple. I mean, you're making never mind. Like I said, if you wanna go into closed session, that's fine. I can enlighten you with a lot of stuff, but whatever.
you wanna
You
go into
think you're
closed
gonna lose your
session?
ambulance, take a
well,
vote on it, but it's not gonna
I don't
we
know
happen.
can't
that
go
it's
into
a
closed
permissible
session
No.
anyway.
No. It's
But
not
I think it's important where,
He hasn't done anything wrong. Cameron has, he's
No,
volunteered.
absolutely not.
No, he's done
I-
fine.
right,
I got no problem with that, but I do have a
But-
problem when he's out, when your response is gonna be slower. If he's outside the community, if we have an emergency, it's gonna take longer than actually having an RA with first respond.
well,
Yeah.
in a situation like that, if we have 1 or 3 or 4 people that are willing to be first responders, and Bill has Cameron scheduled to be out in the country, maybe he could get a substitute during that time that he's out there.
Dave just,
When he was hired, the way I understood it, is that the city knew he was doing this for the last couple of years and there's never been a problem. Because he'd been doing this for the last couple of summers with the ambulance and working for the city.
I don't think I've ever recalled him working during the day, or during working hours.
There's been times that he has, yes, covered.
He's never ever been called then.
It just so happened he didn't get the call, but he was,
I guess
I
I'm
just
not aware.
kind of feel like it's a grandfathered in clause maybe type deal.
well, it's just a matter of if the council wants to just keep going the way we are, or else we
Yeah.
cannot go. I think that's what it's cut down to.
I just find it ironic that we have such a problem with it, but our supervisor doesn't.
It's not their
Well,
town either.
it's not their,
Yeah.
I mean, we're the ones that are representing the people of
So what happens
Lakeview.
when we're on a call and you need an ambulance? Tell me what happens.
Yeah, what,
What happens?
well, I guess we get sacked.
Jeez, there's a no-brainer.
But if Cameron comes in the
It's
field.
really sounding,
Don't you-
really sounding, Jerry, like we have a personal problem with this.
Don't you think that, so in other words, to be totally guaranteed, when we go on a call, then they should automatically send one down here for you. Because you're not comfortable with an extra 3 minutes.
I guess
what-
that's
what you're
right.
saying.
I guess that's right. I mean,
It ain't happening though, is it?
So what do you guys want
I
to do? Do
think-
you want to have a motion to let him continue to take call, whatever we have to do? Or
during the day, on a backup situation, depending on what
Is that-
I'm not sure what the backup situation thing means.
No.
They
Well,
have either, I think
or
either this or this.
until a plan becomes in place, because somebody has to do it, I think.
Obviously, the supervisors are gonna fix it tomorrow, is that?
Yeah, I think basically you need to speak to the board of supervisors and our EMS director, basically.
If this has been going on for the last 2 years the way it is, why are we trying to change anything?
I don't know that it has been going on. I'm not aware that he ever takes call during the day.
I mean,
I mean, I don't know either, but I know our response time is very good and, you know.
I think they do a good job. It's just a matter, do you guys wanna let him continue to do it, or you wanna stop it? Jerry, you wanna
Well, it
motion to
sounds
stop
like it's
it?
gonna be
I think
settled
you need
here.
to get
the
the
other-
information from them tomorrow, or after tomorrow, or talk to them tomorrow.
At least we've
Until
done our
Stay-
part.
Stay as we have been until,
You're covered this,
Tomorrow.
they're covered this week anyway. With the
Who's
full-
covering
with
this
full
week?
staff, not first responders. With the driver and an EMT.
So we are covered all week. Okay, then let's,
And the way it sounds is, it's in the process of getting set up. But I think you'll have a lot more information after tomorrow.
will we have
then
any
we don't
say?
need,
You're not gonna lose the ambulance here.
well, I'm not talking about losing the ambulance,
No,
I'm
these-
talking about
One of these
coverage.
two or both made that comment that they want to lose the ambulance. It's not gonna happen.
That's not gonna happen. Well, that's good. That's good.
But do we support Cameron, let him take call or not? That's what it boils down to.
Can we have a motion on that?
If somebody entertains one, we
I'll
will.
make a motion, we allow Cameron to be on call during the day for the ambulance.
Second?
I'll second it just to move on. It's only gonna last a few days anyway to
Yeah,
find out
a few
what's
days.
going on.
Okay, roll call?
Boltman,
Yes.
Cleveland,
Yes.
Reese,
Yes.
us?
Nope.
Okay, the administrator report, anything good?
Yeah, lots of good things. We'll place the safety surfacing at Pier 25 there on Friday. Now, we're getting 3 or 4 semi-loads worth of this wood chips, okay? We only get 1 delivered every day. It comes from Eastern Iowa. And they only deliver 1 truck out to us every day. So the first one will show up tomorrow, and what we're gonna end up doing is stockpiling it in the street there, 4th Street probably, you know, from Vicky Tom's alley, then to the east. That whole area gets closed off, and probably would remain closed until Friday. We have the Shucks Telebelts coming in, and we'll use the Telebelt to place that in there, and it should be a 1-day deal and everything's
Does
in
the
place.
pea gravel come out then?
No,
or some?
almost none of it comes
Oh,
out.
okay. I mean, I don't know.
It, still, when you go look at it, it's kind of like a bowl, that there's a lower spot on the inside. And it's not figuring that that the P-rock will come out. Just 8 inches over the top of it.
How do they put that on? Skid loader or just,
Well, that's why I say we're gonna use a telebelt, like a concrete pumper, but it's a telebelt.
really just
Conveyor
blow it
belt.
on there?
Yeah, just
Yep.
pushes it out there.
And it'll get conveyored out to all of these different areas, drop it right in place. So this is supposed to happen.
Okay.
Bioretention cell. We are doing another one of these, you know, if you think about the rain garden, this one's different because it has a drain underneath it, so it's called the bioretention cell. And we're doing this one out at the island on Horseshoe Drive there, east of Camp Crescent. We'll construct that for a couple days next week, but then we do a public information meeting on that on Saturday, June 14th. Invite the public down, they learn more about how these things are constructed, how you can do that on your own property. And then they stick around, hopefully plant all of these plants that we have coming that go into this. So it worked well when we did the rain garden, so we'll have this public demonstration. It's on Saturday, June 14th.
Will it rain after that?
I believe when you put in a bioretention cell, it's gonna rain.
It's the rain garden that makes it rain quick.
Rain garden made it stop.
Supposed to rain tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's right.
Tomorrow night,
Yeah.
not in the daytime. Yes.
We have, what ends up being a real big issue with our streetscape downtown about how many of the rose bushes died over wintertime. Said like 120 of our rose bushes died, and that's 2/3 or more of the rose bushes. And they had terrible, terrible problems with rose bushes in general here in the Midwest.
Yeah.
Talking with the guy from the nursery, and said, boy, you're just not alone. They've lost millions of roses, he said, here this winter. So we're pricing those out as far as replacing them. And I think what they're going to look at is a lot of these, like each segment of the bump out has 5 roses in it. I think what they'd probably do is take out 5, put in 3, put 3 back, and they'll intersperse it with some other grasses or a butterfly bush or Wigalia is the other one. So they're doing that.
Sounds
So we
great.
would look probably to buy 70 rose bushes right away. Best price from the nursery is $19 a piece.
Good
That in-
price for roses.
We got plastic.
I believe they are real flowers.
You're a flower lover.
Well, they last long.
Just a note that we usually
There you go.
discuss non-union wages during June, so we'll have that on the agenda next time for discussing non-union wages. I think I'm going to look at taking a few days off, do a little vacation time, maybe as early as this Wednesday, maybe Wednesday through Tuesday. I'll still be around, but I got nothing going on, but I do. Little housework, I guess, little home
Good.
improvement.
Home improvement.
And last reminder is that mayor and council would be grilling at the concert series this Saturday.
Yeah, I'm planning on it.
Okay?
Always fun.
Oh, it's a good time.
Yeah.
We
What
will
time?
get
What
everything started down there about 5:30.
After the sip and sample.
Need help?
Yes.
Okay.
I can help you.
Fun. It's a good
Bring a
time.
lawn chair. I get tired after a while, I have to sit down.
Cooler.
Yeah.
Lawn chair and a cooler.
There you go.
That's all you got?
That's all I got.
Marcia, how many were at the Black Hawk Lake Association deal? Remember?
How many were there?
Yeah,
A full house plus spillover.
yeah. We had a good turnout at the Lake Association deal at the
I never
Lions.
did hear a number, but it was
Oh, was
standing
it
room
a couple
only.
hundred people, I
Yeah.
suppose, at least?
Yeah, good turnout.
Excellent.
Good for the lake.
Excellent turnout.
Yeah. We need roll call, or I need a motion to adjourn.
So
I'll
we'll-
make it.
Mean adjourn.
Never get to do that.
You got in there that time, Terry.
Did I? Well,
Yep.
You did adjourn?
I never did get to do that.
That's the new newsletter.
I'm just too slow.
It's our start. Doesn't have the back page.
There's not a back page.
Yeah, we haven't got that.
It's not done yet.
This is the hard part. Have to run it through a filter.
I like it.
I look at the law, or you can use license plate and the vehicle description.
Keep everybody up.
You can write them.
Okay.
I did have, I forgot one, just a couple other things for you.
I just took the law. Yeah, as long as you give us a